Having the right tool for the task at hand is key, and when we're talking about the kitchen, a great knife will make a big difference. Let's see my friend Chris at Knifewear, and he'll tell us everything he knows about knives. Hey Chris, how you doing?
Good, good. You?
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Things are good?
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here today. I mean, one of the biggest questions I get all the time is, should I invest in a knife? So you know what? I came to the expert today.
To me, it's an easy answer. If you've got a knife that you enjoy using, you'll enjoy using it. So, you know, makes cooking a lot easier. You'll start cooking at home more. You'll make better food for you and your family.
Cool. And like, if we're looking at like a price point that somebody's gonna get, you know, if they're gonna come in and buy a knife, they're gonna buy one knife, you know, what is a good price point for them to look at?
You know, a chef's knife, they start around 75, 80 bucks.
Right.
And then they go up from there.
Cool. So I mean, when we're looking at a knife and looking at shapes of knives, and different types of steel, can you show us different options? And,
Yeah, for sure.
And
So,
what they're good for?
most people are concerned about that all-purpose knife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So something like this.
Right.
This is called a gyuto,
Okay.
which translates to a cow sword. So
cow
gyu
sword.
is the Japanese word for cow.
Right.
To is one of the many words that relates to blades.
Okay.
This is like your classic French chef's knife.
Right.
Okay? You do everything with it.
Right.
Right? Compare that to this, which is called a santoku.
Right.
Santoku's, some people say it's 3 virtues or 3 problems solved. So you can do meat, fish, vegetables with it.
Right.
I've also heard people say it's good for slicing, dicing, and mincing.
Right.
So you can kind of cover everything.
Right.
A lot of people say a gyuto is an all-purpose knife that is a little better suited to meat preparation.
Okay.
Whereas a santoku is maybe a little bit better if you're heavier on the veggies.
Right.
Okay.
Makes sense. But at the same time, I guess whatever you're comfortable with is going to be your weapon of choice. Let's say.
I always tell people to, like, when you're picking out a knife, get the one that's like maybe just a little too big. Like just you're like a little bit afraid of it. Like you'll get used to it.
Right.
You know, but you'll always come across that melon that's too big, or that cabbage, or maybe you've got people over for dinner and you've got a giant roast and you have to carve it and all you have is a santoku.
Yeah.
My chef's knife's as big as this.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, but about that tall.
And my favorite
just
part
used
about
to it.
well, my favorite part about that length is getting like one clean slice.
Oh yeah.
When you're cutting through something, no jagged cuts. It's a perfect clean slice.
So when you figure out what kind of shape you want,
Right.
the best thing to do is to come into the shop and pick up a bunch. You get to figure out what you're comfortable with. That's important. Is you want to make sure if you're going to spend money on a knife, get a knife you're actually going to use. So make sure you're comfortable.
Exactly.
Right?
And then you can come in, you can try the action.
Yeah.
You guys let people cut vegetables and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
we
which
always
allows
keep veggies on stock.
you know, it allows you to really feel the action and the motion, as well as the weight
Yep.
and the length of the blade, which is really good.
Weight's important. The other big thing that people are concerned about is maintenance.
Yeah.
All right. So the Japanese knives, you've got 3 situations for maintenance.
Right.
You've got something like this guy.
Right.
This is a stainless steel.
Right.
All right. Now it's a really nice stainless steel.
Yeah,
called
nice and shiny. It's beautiful.
Well, it's SLD, so it's harder. It's a harder steel than most other available stainlesses. So the maintenance on this is a lot less than say this one, which we had earlier. This isn't like this knife is clad in iron.
Right.
So it's a much more reactive material. If you leave this knife wet on the counter, you'll come back to a rusty knife.
Exactly.
Your biggest rules are that you want to make sure you're keeping it dry when you're not using it. You're chopping 20 onions.
Yeah.
Every 5 onions, swipe it off.
Oh yeah.
Just get in the habit of wiping it off.
Right.
You know, your rules are the same for every knife, really, stainless or carbon. You always want to wash and dry by hand. You want to store it somewhere safe where the edges aren't going to get banged around.
Right.
You're not going to cut yourself reaching into a drawer. And then just kind of like sharpening.
Right.
Or rather honing.
Honing. Yeah.
Honing is a better way to go about it.
Honing, for the sake of the viewer, it's not necessarily sharpening, right?
No.
We're straightening that edge.
Exactly.
To maintain that sharpness for a longer period of
Yeah,
time.
when you put a knife to a stone, steel gets removed.
Exactly.
But when you put a knife against ceramic, it just gets shaped
Yep.
back into...
So get a nice straight edge.
Exactly.
When do you sharpen a knife? How often do you sharpen a knife?
A lot of our customers like to bring their knives in every 6 to 8 months. I find with Western style knives, you kind of almost got to cut it in half every 3 or 4 months. But my test is if I'm making dinner, I slice a tomato, my knife doesn't feel so good, I'll try it on the honing rod.
Yeah.
If it still doesn't slice the tomato, it's time to put it to a stone.
I really damaged one of my knives. I hit a bone. I shouldn't have done it, but you know, I have it here with me today. And You can see here that I got a ding.
Yeah.
2 little dings.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Like looking at it, like that should come out when I sharpen it.
Okay.
You know, it's just a little bit of a kind of a wobble in the blade, but it should come right out.
Can we take a look at how we would do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
Let's head over there.
Okay, cool.
Thanks.
So what we're gonna do is kind of, we gotta pay attention. Like before, I was saying, like sharpening and honing. It's not about being bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
It's about consistency.
Right.
What I'm gonna do is I got it across the stone here. Our ding is right around here, so we just need to get past it.
Okay.
And then polish it up.
So we're using, there's different grits when it comes to stones?
Yeah.
What kind
so
of stone
this
are we
is
using?
this is a 200 grit.
Okay.
So this is quite coarse.
Wow, that's coarse, yeah.
But it's because we got a lot of steel to remove.
Yep.
So as we make our way up, they'll get to be smoother. You can think about stones like sandpaper.
Yep. So we keep adding water?
The water you can think of as like a lubricant. Like it'll just keep the steel moving across the stone.
So this is practice, right? If you were doing this at home, you want to practice this.
Yeah, if you're doing this at home, you've never really done this before, you want to move this fast.
Yeah. And you don't really want to use your expensive knife, do you?
Not really. Like you should practice on your neighbor's knife, to be honest.
So go over to your neighbor and ask them for a knife to sharpen.
I like to strop it on my jeans. It gets the burr off it. So now I can get into some polishing stones.
So if we're using the European style knife, like how many stones would we go through? Like what different grits?
For most European style knives, I use something coarse and then something medium.
Okay.
So like a 2 or a 400 plus a 1 or a 2000.
Okay.
If I'm doing a Japanese knife,
Yeah.
there's a little more variance, but it usually hits at least 3 or 4 stones.
Okay.
Sometimes I go like 1, 4, 8, 10.
That's 1,000.
1,000, 4,000, 8,000, 10,000.
Okay. And that's going to render a razor sharp edge.
Yeah, like that's something you can shave with.
Yeah. Perfect. So this is the last stone?
This is the last stone. This is the 8,000.
So you can barely hear any grinding noises.
Yeah, it's not removing steel
Yeah.
anymore, really. It's just smoothing out that edge.
So the leather is going to
Make it even smoother.
Okay.
So a few passes on the coarser leather,
Right.
and then a few passes on the soft leather.
This is my favorite part. When you can slice through paper,
Well, and you can just push it in,
Wow.
right? Like,
that's sharp.
very good. Well, there you go.
Cool. All right. So now, pick my knife of choice. Let's grab some stones,
Yeah.
and we'll go check out. All right. So here we are. Picked my knife.
You got a Gyuto, a 240 millimeter Gyuto is a really good all-round chef's knife.
Exactly.
You know, a little bigger than what a lot of people look for, but I think it's the right size.
Yeah, I mean, I love the long blade for the slicing, and I mean, I love the finish for the look of it.
Yeah.
You know, and the iron is great hardness.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for helping educate our viewers on, how to buy a good knife and how valuable it is. Right.
Very good.
Until next time, man.
Yeah, you got it. Good to see you.